Alright, so we're starting with Chapter 1, which is Introduction to Algebra, and likewise, Section 1.1 is Introduction to Algebra as well. So we're going to start here, and it says, what is a variable? So a variable is a letter that represents one or more numbers. Okay, so it's a letter that represents one or more numbers. There are two types of expressions, okay? So we have our numerical expressions. So our numerical expressions contain only numbers. You know, numerical kind of sounds like number. There we go. So for example, we could have 5 plus 3. See, those are only numbers. Obviously, it has a symbol. That's okay. That's part of the expression. Or we could have 8 times 9. Those are both numbers. So that's numerical expressions. Now we also have variable expressions. And variable expressions contain numbers and variables. So it has both, okay? So, for example, we could have 7x. So you have that number and a variable. Or we could have 9 minus n. That's another. It has both numbers and variables. It could just have a variable. So, okay. Now our major issue in algebra is the difference between expressions and equations. They're two different things, but they look very, very similar. Expressions have no equal sign, okay? And all you're supposed to do is simplify them, if possible. Okay? Okay, first of many technical difficulties of Miss Robinson throughout the year. Gotta love technology. Okay, so equations, it has an equal sign. So that's where you would solve it, if possible. Okay, so if you look below them, you have two examples. So you have 5 plus x, okay, and again, no equal sign, so it's an expression. Whereas it has 5 plus x equals 5, that has an equal sign, so it's an equation. Equal sign has an equation. Okay, substitution principle is an expression may be replaced by another expression that have the same value. For example, we have 4 plus 2. We all know that 4 plus 2 is 6, so that can be replaced with it because they have the same value. Just substituting the same thing for one another. Now, everyone's got to love the PEMDAS, reviewing order of operations. So, we're going to remind ourselves what PEMDAS stands for. So, P is for parenthesis. Okay. Then we have E for exponents. We have M for multiplication. Now, we also have D for division. Now, these are at the same level. And what I mean by that is that one's not better than the other or comes before the other. So if you have both of them in the problem, you're going to do it from left to right, okay? Left to right. So if you're trying to decide if you do multiplication or division first, it's whichever one comes first in the equation. Likewise, we have addition and subtraction, and they're again at the same level. So one is not better than each other, so you do from left to right. Okay, so we're going to get into some examples, okay? So we got to work our way using order of operations. So we have to use parentheses first, okay? So what's 42 divided by 6? We got to simplify that. That is 7. So now, once we do whatever inside the parentheses, then the parentheses go away. So now it's just 7 plus 8, which we know 7 plus 8 is 15. So that would be our answer. Okay? We're doing a simplifying. Okay? So we have 12 minus 2 times 3 plus 5. Well, I know that the multiplication comes before addition or subtraction, so we have to do this part right here first. So I'm going to say 12 minus, and 2 times 3 is 6, plus 5. Now we have both subtraction and addition. Now, one's not better than the other, they're at the same level. So that means that we do them from left to right. So we're going to do 12 minus 6 first, which is 6. And then we have plus 5, which is 11. Okay? And now we're going to evaluate each expression if a equals 5. So we have 7a. It has that imaginary multiplication sign in there, okay? If a variable and a number are next to each other like that, you have that multiplication sign right between them. And if you didn't know a dot is a multiplication sign, that's what we use in algebra to not get confused with x's. Okay, so 7a. So we're going to have 7 times 5, which is 35. So when it says evaluate, all you have to do is plug in that number for the variable, so we have a equals 5, and then solve it. Or simplify it as much. Sorry, can't solve it because it's an expression. So we have 3 times 5, because it's 3a, plus 2. So we have to do 3 times 5 first, which is 15, plus 2, and that gives us 17 as our total. And lastly, got to plug some in. So we keep the 2 the same, 2 times, and all I'm doing is plugging in the numbers first. So 2 plus 3. So we have to do parentheses first. So what's inside the parentheses? 2 plus 3. So that's what we have to do first. So we do 2 times 2 plus 3 is 5. Now once we solve what's in the parentheses, those parentheses go away. So now I have 2 times 5, which is 10. And then we have to do a plus bc. So a is 1 plus, and that's b times c. So we're going to do b, which is 2, times c, which is 3. So we have to do this one first because it's multiplication. So 1 plus 6, which is 7. So there you have it. Finished your first video notes. Woohoo!